So today, we're diving into NVIDIA's huge vision for a new industrial revolution. And this is all coming straight from their latest reports. The big idea here, they're not just making faster chips anymore. No, they're building the factories of the future. So what on earth does that actually mean? Let's get into it. And this quote from NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang, it sets the stage perfectly. We're entering a new industrial revolution. This time, intelligence is the product. I mean, that's a huge claim, right? But it cuts right to the core of their entire strategy. The whole idea is we're leaving behind an era of just processing information and entering a new one where we actually produce intelligence itself. Okay, so how do you even produce intelligence? Well, according to NVIDIA, you build an AI factory. And this is a central metaphor for everything they're doing. Just think about it, right? A normal factory takes raw materials and makes, say, a car. A power plant takes coal and makes electricity. The AI factory, it does the exact same thing, but its raw material is data, and its finished product, pure intelligence. We're talking about a totally new kind of infrastructure for a completely new economy. All right, so to really get our heads around what an AI factory is, we've got to take a step back and look at the huge shift in computing that's making all this possible. And I want to be clear, this isn't just some minor upgrade. We're talking about a completely different way of thinking about what computers are even for. And this chart, it lays it out perfectly. You know, for decades, computing was all about meticulously hand-coding software, telling a CPU exactly what to do step by step. The new way? Totally different. Now we're using machine learning models that actually learn from data, and they're supercharged by these massively parallel GPUs. But the really critical part, the game changer, is the output. We've shifted from just processing information that already exists to generating brand new, incredibly valuable intelligence. Okay, so we've established these factories are generating intelligence, but what does that product actually look like? You know, what's the electricity that's going to power this whole new world? Well, the answer is something called a token. Now, what's a token? It's basically the atom of digital intelligence, the smallest possible unit of meaning. It could be a single word, a little piece of computer code. It could even be a fragment of a DNA sequence. The magic happens when you start stringing these tokens together in a sequence. Suddenly, you have something that starts to look an awful lot like thought or reasoning. And this is the key. You really gotta get this. If the AI factories are the new power plants, then tokens are the kilowatts they're churning out. They are the fundamental product. They're the commodity that every single AI application is built on top of. So the entire goal of this whole new industrial setup, it's to generate these tokens as efficiently and at as massive a scale as humanly possible. All right, so let's pop the hood. What's actually inside one of these AI factories? What's the engine that's cranking out all these tokens? And spoiler alert, it's not just one magic chip. It's a complete, full stack of technology all working together in perfect sync. Let's break it down into 3 simple layers. First, you've got the engine itself, the hardware. We're talking about the raw computational horsepower of platforms like the Blackwell GPUs. But hey, having thousands of GPUs is totally useless if they can't talk to each other, right? That's where step 2 comes in, the connections. High-speed networking like NVLink and Spectrum-X weaves all those GPUs together so they act like one single massive computer. And finally, step 3. This is where the magic really happens, the language. Software like Q2X is the ecosystem that lets developers actually tap into all that raw power and turn it into real-world breakthroughs. And we really can't overstate how important that software layer is. I mean, think about it. Over 6 million developers are building on the Q2X platform. That's not just a software library. That's a massive global ecosystem. It's way more than just a technical advantage. It's a huge competitive moat. All that incredible hardware is basically unlocked by this giant community of creators and researchers. Okay, so we've talked about the theory, we've looked under the hood at the technology, but what about the real world? How does this all translate into actual value? Is this revolution really happening, or is it just talk? Well, the numbers and the applications, they tell a pretty clear story. Get a load of this number, $115.2 billion. That's not their total revenue. That's just what NVIDIA made from their data center segment. This isn't some pie-in-the-sky prediction for the future. This is the economic reality of right now. Companies, even entire countries, are pouring billions into building out their AI factory infrastructure as we speak. And just to put that number in perspective, take a look at this breakdown. Yeah, NVIDIA is still a huge player in gaming, visualization, automotive. But look at the data center business. It's just completely dominant. It's not even close. This chart shows you exactly where the Industrial Revolution is happening. Building the infrastructure for AI, that's not just a part of their business anymore. It is their business. And that infrastructure is popping up literally everywhere. We're seeing it in industrial digitalization with partners like Foxconn. It's helping develop autonomous vehicles with Mercedes-Benz. It's massively accelerating drug discovery. It's the engine behind enterprise AI for giants like ServiceNow and SAP. Heck, they're even using it to create a digital twin of our entire planet to better model weather and climate. The range of applications is just staggering.
So, where does it go from here? If this first massive wave was all about building digital intelligence locked away inside data centers, the next frontier is about bringing that intelligence out, bringing it into our physical world.
NVIDIA has a name for this: physical AI. And what we're talking about here is robotics, autonomous machines, intelligent systems that don't just exist on a screen. No, these are systems that can perceive, reason, and act in the real world. This is literally where the AI revolution gets up and starts walking around. And, no surprise, NVIDIA has a whole end-to-end platform for this too. It's a three-step process. Step 1, you train the AI's brain on their giant DGX supercomputers. Then, and this is so important, you test its skills safely in a crazy realistic virtual world called the Omniverse. It's a digital twin where the AI can practice. And finally, once it's ready for the real world, you deploy that intelligence onto a small, powerful computer like a Jetson that goes inside the actual robot or vehicle. Train, simulate, deploy. It's the complete pipeline for bringing physical AI to life. And this quote just brings it all home, doesn't it? The argument NVIDIA is making is that what we're all witnessing right now, it's not just another transition in the tech industry. No, this is the foundational layer. This is the steel, the concrete, the electricity for an entirely new industrial age, a new era for the entire economy. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. I mean, we take it completely for granted that we can plug anything into a wall and get electricity. So what happens to our world when we can plug into intelligence just as easily? Just think about the new inventions, the new industries, all the new possibilities that will unlock. That is the future